I'm pleased to introduce our expert, Renee Rosenberg, author and positivity pro. Welcome, Renee. It's a pleasure to have you join us today.
Thank you so much, Jeffrey. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm really excited about this topic. This is one of my very favorite topics. And I'm really excited to see Dara Lee here and Diane here and Kristen. So thank you for being here. So welcome, everyone. And today we'll be talking about Japanese concepts for well-being and a positive, productive, joyful life and job search over 50. So thank you, all of those who are here joining me today. Thank you so much. Okay, so I want to ask you, what if the key to a joyful life, improved well-being, or a more relaxed, productive job search over 50 is not about working harder, is not about worrying, but it's about thinking differently? Imagine yourself approaching your job search, approaching your daily decisions, approaching your life and about the concerns of life with a calmer wisdom of a Zen garden, with the resilience of a repaired favorite teacup, or the calmness of walking in nature, or perhaps even taking small steps to achieve something that you've been procrastinating about for a very long time. So today's talk will be about helping you take this calm wisdom with you throughout your daily activities. So today, again, I'll be speaking about the Japanese concepts for well-being. And when I was living in Japan in the 1980s, I discovered that many people who were in their 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, and even 90s were living fully joyful, productive lives. And I realized that there was something very special about the Japanese practices and traditions that they were following. So I started to study them along with studying mokumegame, which is a form of Japanese metal making to create wood grain metal. So along with my Japanese metal making studies and my study of the Japanese philosophies, I learned a great deal about how to incorporate these calming activities into both my counseling practice and into the presentations and the work that I do. So today I will be discussing, and I'm going to look at the objectives next. 5 Japanese philosophies that I'll be introducing you to. Some of them may be familiar. Some of them have become almost mainstream now in some business circles in the US. So that's been very interesting that they're beginning to finally, after centuries of being around for a very long time, they're finally being picked up and acknowledged by business. And so I'm going to be introducing you to 5 of those. Some of those are very old, some of those are more modern. And I'm going to be teaching you how to understand, how to apply these philosophies to help build your self-awareness, your resilience, your mindfulness, your well-being, joy, creating more relaxed, effective job search, and to eliminate procrastination. So that's an awful lot that these can be helping you with, any one of these within your life and your daily activities. Next. So challenges over 50 really are very important because we need to learn when we reach 50, 60, 70, 80, that we need to increase our garden of life and the joy of the garden of life. Because we face many different challenges. We face burnout, we face ageism, stereotyping, change in our lives, in our conditions, in our background, in our friendships, and transition, how we go through the change, how we adapt to the change. We look at the uncertainty. We have uncertainty of fear of the unknown. And of course, many of us, we have fear of aging. We need to acknowledge your wisdom and your strengths and the potential of each new stage of your life. Carl Jung has told us that as we age, we change in each new stage, and we become different and we have different things that are really important to us. So it's important to acknowledge and to reaffirm your power each stage of your life and to know that you have much to offer and that this is a time for you to thrive. Next. So here are the 5 Japanese philosophies that I'm going to be speaking about. And I wanted to mention, now that we have the chat working, that if you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat. I'd like this to be an interactive program. So if you have a question, if I'm going to be covering it a little later in the presentation, I'll let you know. But if it's very timely, then I certainly will answer the question or answer it later. So please feel free to chat with me and chat with each other. So here are the 5 philosophical concepts. The first one is Ikigai. And as I go through them, I would love to know in the chat if you know or have heard of any of these before. Ikigai is the first. The second is, and Ikigai is the reason for living. What is your purpose in life? The next is Wabi Sabi, which is finding beauty in patterns of imperfection and decay, but finding them beautiful, not something to be avoided and to be unhappy about. Kintsugi goes along with wabi sabi. They actually combine together. Kintsugi is to repairing the imperfections with a gold lacquer, something that I really love very much. And Shinrin-yoku is forest bathing, and Kaizen is to create continuous improvement by taking small, very doable steps. So any of these familiar to any of you, or are all of them new? If they're new, just put in the chat and let me see. Or if there's one that you've heard about before, I'm really curious to find out how many of you might know one of these. Okay, I don't see anything in the chat right now, so we're going to move on to the next. Oh, your Japanese friend does them all, Diane. Oh, that's great. And they're new to you. Okay, well, they won't be new to you after today. And Jeffrey, the second and third are new to you. Okay, good, good. I'm glad to hear that. Okay, so let's look at the first one that I mentioned, Ikigai. And Ikigai is become very popular in business today. Many people are talking about it. As I was writing my new book and learning more about Ikigai, and I found that so many people now are aware of it. So that's great. And more people are even speaking about it, which is also really great. And I see, Sheila, that you've heard about that, and also Shinrin Yoku. Oh, it's the rage. Okay. Wonderful. I'm really glad to hear that. And John, the fourth one is new to you. John, you're going to love Kaizen. It's a really important philosophical concept. So let's look at Ikigai. Ikigai means, Iki means, whoops, we're not finished with that slide, please. Iki means to live, and gai means worth or value. And it's a reason for being, and it's also to increase your sense of purpose. Okay, next. And it's really, this is the importance of really, I think, understanding it. It's really about being purpose driven and how you redefine productivity. But it is not, and this is where people make a mistake in our Western culture, it is not about being busy. It's not about being busy. It's about what is important to you, what aligns with your energy, and what matters most. What is your purpose? And what is your passion? That's really the basis of Ikigai. And it's been recently, and we'll show this Venn diagram in a minute, it's been used in many business meetings in the form of a Venn diagram, 4 different circles which come together in the center with Ikigai. When we look at the Venn diagram that's been created, the 4 circles are very distinct. And what we're looking at in Ikigai is what you love, which is really what is your purpose and your passion, what you're good at, what do you enjoy, what makes your heart sing, what makes you happy, and what the world needs, what's needed by what you love and what you do well. And then, very important, since this is a business diagram, is how can you get paid for doing what is your purpose and your passion? And I think this is the part that we really love to look at in terms of considering a job search, considering the kind of work that you want to be doing next, considering the kind of, it could be volunteer work, but if you want to be paid, what is it that you love doing and want to do to help others? It's not just about getting a paycheck. So Ikigai and the Venn diagram is really about discovering what's in your heart. And here's a picture of what the diagram looks like. It's these four circles, and in the center is Ikigai, which is your passion, your purpose, your reason that you want to get up in the morning. Why do you get up in the morning? What makes you happy? Oh, I'm glad you like it, Linda. Great. Yeah. So okay, so the next slide, I love this picture because I walk on the beach a lot. Those of you who know me, I'm near the ocean, and I watch the surfers. And I think that, they've got a purpose and a passion for sure. And I know a surfer actually who lives in my building, and his ikigai is to get out there and surf on those waves. And that's what he talks about every day. This is a great wave today. I'm going out there. So notice what excites you, what energizes you. And energy is really the powerful clue to what is your ikigai. What gives you the energy to keep going, to be happy, to feel good about something? It's really what energizes you. Okay, next slide, please. I love this picture. This is a picture of my neighbor, Patrick. And he is a former fire chief. He worked in actually the fire department right near my home in the West Village. He was the chief of the fire department there. And he's retired. And since he's retired, he's recognized his passion, which has always been a passion, but now this is his purpose and his ikigai. He gets up every morning and he runs these classes for these little children in the neighborhood. And he's teaching them how to throw a ball so they can practice basketball. Can you imagine these little guys throwing basketballs? They're the cutest thing. If you look closely, there's one of them that could barely hold the ball, the one right over here. And there's others wondering what's next. And this one's totally confused. But he's out there 3 or 4 times a week with his little class. And this is his ikigai. This is what gives him energy. So, what gives you energy? What inspires you to get up in the morning and to do what you really love? Particularly if those of you are in job search or looking what to do next, figure out what it is that energizes you and brings you that joy. Okay, so let's look at the next. Okay, so it's important to find the peak of happiness in the different stages of your life. As I mentioned, Carl Jung says that in the different stages, we want different things, and there's different things that excite us, and there's different things that energize us. So look at what's different in your life now that might have been different from your life earlier. As you reach your 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, there are other stages in your life. These are other that will bring different types of happiness to you. So it's always important to be reassessing yourself and finding out what's really important at that new stage. My new book, Achieving the Good Life, new book. Excuse me, I'm going to show you my new book. This is my new book, which is coming out, which is called The Artichoke Assessment: Peel Back the Layers of Life to Find Your Purpose. And this will be out soon to help you assess yourself during the different stages of your life. Meanwhile, this man here decided when he was 90 that he was going to become a yogi and stand on his head. That became his ikigai and his purpose. Happiness is not something that's ready-made. It comes from your own actions. For Abraham Maslow told us this, that a man can be what he must be. So remember to always reassess yourself in your different stages of life to find out what does make you happy. And Joseph Campbell has told us that if you follow your bliss, the universe will open doors where before there were only walls. So follow what's really in your heart and follow what makes you happy. I'm spending a lot more time in Ikigai because it's really the center of happiness and joyful living. But let's move on to the next one because they're all just as important. Wabi sabi. I love saying wabi sabi. It makes me happy. But it means to be serene, and it means to be, why don't you all say that? You're not, you're on mute, so we won't hear you, but just say wabi sabi and see how that feels. It really brings great, I think it brings great joy and happiness and peace just by saying wabi sabi. And it means to be serene, and it means to be quiet. And it means to find beauty in imperfections. And that it tells us that it's really natural to have imperfection and it's natural to make mistakes. And here in this picture, I'm showing three people. The one I always ask in my other presentations, who do you think is the older worker? But you can tell who the oldest person here is, and that's Edna. And Edna is actually 80, was 88 in that picture. And Edna really knows how to embrace wabi sabi and how to embrace aging. She was always calm and always focused and always very directed. So next. And here are some of the messages that I actually got from Edna and about wabi sabi is to slow down your life and appreciate the beauty in the moment. Appreciate the moment. Be mindful of where you are and what's happening. Focus your thoughts not with fears of age and imperfection, but about the beauty of the moment. And this will help calm your nervous system. It'll restore balanced thinking, create serenity, even create more positive job search and all the activities that you're conducting, improve well-being, and will alleviate a lot of the ageism anxiety that you have in either your job search or just in your everyday thoughts about your aging. So wabi sabi is a wonderful thought concept, but it's also combined with, and the next slide, please, kintsugi. So wabi sabi and kintsugi, they go together, they combine. And kintsugi is the kin means gold, and sugi means to join or to mend. And so here's a picture of a plate that was repaired with golden lacquer at a workshop that I attended, oh, a very long time ago, actually, that was given here in Governor's Island by a group of Dutch people, which is where this originated. Actually, the idea of creating classes to combine broken pottery. I think we should have more of that, actually. Don't you think so, Jeffrey? More classes where we combine things that are broken. And I just love being able to do that and think it's very important. So kintsugi, next, please. Kintsugi, as I mentioned, which combines with wabi-sabi, is to help you celebrate the experience and the cracks as a source of strength and resilience. So if we look at something that's broken and we look at it, how we can repair it and fix it into something that's stronger and more resilient, we can look at that in terms of also how we live our life. And the gaps or transitions are the golden threads in your life story. They're not flaws to be hidden. So if you have gaps in your work history and you're in job search, or you have gaps in things that you feel you haven't done in your life, look at them as golden threads, as stories that you can tell and you can fix with this golden lacquer of repair. Those of you who know me know that I work in the Repair Cafe every other month, upstate New York, and I repair jewelry. And it's quite rewarding to see how wonderful it is to repair things that are broken. So if you have something that's broken, think how can that be repaired rather than thrown out? Think wabi-sabi and kintsugi. Next. And the message of kintsugi is to repair broken pottery with gold lacquer, but repair anything, repair your thoughts, repair your dreams, repair something that makes you sad. How can you look at it in a different way? How can you view flaws and setbacks as part of the natural process of life? And that's what kintsugi and wabi-sabi is teaching you. Replace your self-judgment, your negativity, and the pressure to always be 100%, because 100% doesn't really exist. So use the concept of wabi-sabi and kintsugi. I invite you to think about them when you have a setback, when you have a disappointment, and think how you can move forward and repair that as a natural process with golden lacquer. Next. Wabi-sabi. Okay, I think I just said this, but I'm going to repeat it again because it's so important. Wabi-sabi and kintsugi promote acceptance of what is natural, of aging and imperfection. Nothing is permanent and nothing stays the same. Everything does change and everything does move on. And as we age, we do see a lot of imperfections. But get over imperfection, get over perfection. Perfection doesn't really exist. It's really not something that we need to be focusing on. We need to be focusing on how to stay happy and how to combine acceptance of the natural process of imperfection. And it was first created in Japan, actually, in the 6th century, when one of the Japanese emperor's very favorite pot was broken. And his artisans didn't want to throw it out because they knew how much he loved it. And they decided to use kintsugi and repair this pot with this golden lacquer. And this became much beautiful than something that had been before. I also saw a show when I was in London at a Japanese gallery of kintsugi pottery. And the prices were astronomical and they were so very, very beautiful. So think of it as a beautiful thing and don't think of imperfection and aging as imperfection, but as a natural course of life. Next. Shinrin Yoku. Shinrin Yoku is a more modern philosophical concept. It's not ancient. It was actually discovered in 1982, and I first read about it in a newspaper when I was living in Japan. And it was created by the director of the Department of Forestry. And it was created because they were feeling that too many people were getting burned out by working much too hard, and they needed to go out into nature, and they needed to be in nature. And so they created this concept of offering people the opportunity to go into nature and to take care of nature, because they were feeling people weren't appreciating the parks and the forests and the trees in Japan, and the people needed to relax. They did a study before they actually introduced this concept to the public. They did a study with quite about 100 people that they sent out for several months to walk in the forest for 20 minutes daily. And they found that it increased their well-being, it reduced their blood pressure, and it helped increase their immune system, and it made them feel happier. So they introduced it to the general public, and it means to be immersive in mindfulness within nature. And I think some of you have said that you've heard about, and I see Sheila, you wrote that it's a rage down in DC. That's very interesting. I'm glad to hear that. It's really something very beautiful to really be practicing, and it's actually been written up in the New York Times now several times, and it has become very well known. There are even courses now, if any of you are interested as a new career, to become a guide, actually professional guide. You can get trained and certified to become a guide in Shinrin Yoku and take people out on forest walks, which really are only 20 minutes, but it's about using all your senses to really feel nature around you. So I have a question to ask those of you who are here today. What if you live in an urban setting and you're not near nature? And I think most of you are in an urban setting. How can you find Shinrin Yoku? I'm going to tell you how, but I want to see if any of you have an idea. Where can you find it in your urban setting? Put it in the chat and let's see if we can help each other. Maybe some of you have a different idea than I have. Go to a park, Linda. Yes. Meditation and visualization. Yes, Jenny, absolutely. Mhm. Local parks, Diane. Yes. Prospect Park, that's a very local one. Okay, you gave us a specific one you can go to. Yeah, but what if you're not near a park? Anything else that you can find in your urban setting? Your home. Okay. What in your home, Diane? Be more specific. Oh, Jeffrey's more specific. Plants at home, a fruit bowl, something that's from nature that you can focus on and really appreciate. Central Park. There's your specific park. Great, Sherry. Yes. A serene place, a porch with plants, small trees. Yes. You can find nature anywhere. I always suggest to my clients just to go outside and look at the sky, look at the changing formations of the clouds and focus on those. Be mindful. How often do you look up at the sky and really appreciate the beauty of how it's changing and the beautiful gift that actually the clouds are giving you. How about just walking and feeling the breeze of nature when there is a breeze? Not today. Today is very hot here in New York. Don't do this today. But when there's a breeze, and how about watching a sunset, watching a sunrise? Mm, wow, look at that. Oh, that's very interesting, Sheila. Forest bathing sessions. Wow, for $300. That's great. I'm glad to hear that. But you know what? You can do it on your own. You don't need to go out and pay someone $300, Sheila. There's a lot of nature in the city. I've explored it myself to find out where people can be finding nature. And there's so much. Yes, you've all said parks, and that's beautiful. But I always look at the cracks between the pavement and the grass that's growing up between the cracks. There's a lot of nature there. Or there's little pockets of nature in the front of buildings where people will put a flower pot and plants. So look for it, it's all around. So it's an opportunity for you to really engage in nature. And if you do go out into nature, they say it's 20 minutes, a 20-minute break. So if you're going into a park, 20 minutes is really all you need to observe what's around you and observe the nature. If you're doing it in your home and you're sitting at the computer, take a 20-minute break and look outside your window. I have trees outside my window, actually, so I feel like I could be in a park. Or as I say, look at the sky, 20 minutes to reset and recharge. It will calm your mind. It'll help reduce anxiety. It'll restore clarity for a more thoughtful career decision making. Overall, it's great. And as I say, and as I see in the chat, it's becoming very popular. Sit in someone's backyard, John. Okay. Make a new friend. Oh my gosh. Make sure you know them before you sit in their backyard, though. Introduce yourself first, John, although you're a very pleasant person. Let them know you're coming, and maybe they'll come and join you in the backyard because it's very important also to connect with other people if you can when you're involved in Shinryu-yoku. When I walk through the streets and I look at the sky or I listen to the trees, I usually point it out to other people and see if they can stop and appreciate it also. So we can do a lot for others as well as for ourselves. Next. Taking restorative breaks in nature is to get up and move. As I mentioned, get up from your computer. You can set an alarm every 20 minutes just to get up and stretch and move a little bit. Look out a window. If it's beautiful and you can go out for a walk and look for nature. If you're in a country setting, if you're near a park, go there, or just walk around the block and look for things that you can enjoy. And will help you defeat burnout, and your emotional well-being will calm your body and calm your mind. And in this day and age, with all the stress and anxiety that's happening around us, very important to take restorative breaks and appreciate nature that's really everywhere. And Sheila, as you say, they're offering courses for $300. That's people really need. They need Shinrin-yoku. And this is why the Japanese government created it in 1982. Not very old, not a very old traditional concept, but a very important one. So let's look at the next one. Oh, if you can't get out and you don't know what to do, then have a picture of nature in front of you. I took this picture in Holland last year when I was visiting my friend Froa, and it's something that really it brings back such beautiful and calm feelings for me. And if you would like, any of you here on this call would like a copy of this picture, please email me. I'd be more than happy to send it to you. I love taking pictures of nature and then watching and looking at them when I can't get out. So just look at a beautiful picture of nature, and that could also be calming. Again, if you'd like a copy of this, just let me know and I'll send it to you. The next one and the last one that we're going to be talking about is Kaizen. And John, this is a new one to you. Anyone else know Kaizen? Have you heard of this one before? This is also not an ancient Japanese philosophy, actually. This one's pretty new. Oh, Sheila, you want a copy of the photo? Okay, I'll be sending it out to you. And anyone else? Actually, I think I have most of your emails. I will be sending it out, but anyone who I don't have your email, please let me know and I'll send you a picture. So Kaizen was similar to Shinrin Yoku, created by a government, by the Japanese government, to help people at work. And it was created by, ironically, not a Japanese man, but by an American economist named W. Edward Deming, right after World War II. And he was asked by the Japanese government to help come in and restore the industrial businesses and complexes in Japan after World War II. And so he created, and actually it's very interesting because his picture, and he's not Japanese, is in the main building of Toyota because he was so instrumental in helping them grow their business, regrow their business after the war. He said that if you could make small changes, not big changes, but very small changes, that can help you to build and rebuild. And Kai means to change, and Zen means for the good. So to change for the good, to slow down, to take very small steps to complete a task, and to have continuous incremental improvement in each task that you complete. This was so successful that it was adopted by all the industries in Japan. And it is followed now by so many of the people in business. And you can follow it in your work, in your business, in your life. How many of you have trouble with procrastination? I know I do. Sometimes I sit down to do something and I get overwhelmed that there's too much to do. For example, trying to organize my house and trying to organize my bookcase, even. Um, and I've learned through Kaizen, if I just work on one shelf, and organize that one shelf, that I've made a continuous incremental improvement and that I feel good about it. And this is the important part about Kaizen. Not only do you do this small change, but at the end, you also give yourself a reward. So don't we all want to reward ourselves for things that we do? And because you're just working on something very small, you really can't procrastinate because you're just finishing it quickly and then you move on to the next. So Kaizen is a wonderful way. Oh, how interesting, Jenny. They talked about Kaizen. Oh, very, very good. At Trader Joe's. No wonder that is why everybody's so nice there. One small little step of being nice to people just grows and grows and grows. So one manageable step at a time. No pressure. One thing that you can do. So when I went to clean my bookcase, look at my old books, some of them that have been there for looks like centuries, that I've never even touched, actually. I think they belong to my mother and then her mother and then maybe her mother. They're really old. And I just did one shelf at a time, looking at each book and deciding what to keep and what to give away. No pressure. Just work slowly, small, steady improvements. In your job search, just work on one aspect of your resume. Don't be so stressed out working on all parts of it. Just one aspect and finish that. Or learn new job skills or in networking. Network with just one person. Think of one person you can call. Don't think of 10 people because you might not get to 10 people. Small, steady steps. And then when you reach that, awareness of what you have to do, accepting what you have to do, and taking action. Again, small steps, always small, so that they're achievable and doable. And after you take the action, these are my 3 A's of Kaizen: the awareness, the accepting, and the action. But the fourth A is the award. And that's the most important piece: giving yourself an award and rewarding yourself with something that you wanted that is special. Not too much ice cream, though. One of my clients told me, well, she's going to go out and get an ice cream cone every time she completes a small task. And I said, oh, no, no, please don't do that. Maybe after every 5 small tasks, not after every one. So figure out an award. It could be going out and taking a walk in nature, combining your reward with Shinrin Yoku, or it could be just taking a little break, listening to some lovely calming music. Um, Maybe after you've done one task and completed it, taking a nice warm bath or a nice cool shower or something that'll make you feel relaxed and happy. Maybe then you can call a friend and connect with someone, because connecting also is very important. But Kaizen is a very important, and I think too many people don't know about it or don't really practice it. But I think it's going to become very popular. And as I see, and Jenny said that Trader Joe's actually talks about it in their training. That's amazing. And it's really quite wonderful because it really help you with procrastination. Any of you who have any issues or problems with that will find that this could be a very helpful step for you. Next, please. So I'm going to ask you to think about creating a positive Kaizen affirmation, something that's short, in the present tense, and very specific. And it could start with any one of these because it has to be the present tense and it has to always be about you. So I'd like you to take a moment to think about, is there something that you need to do that you've been wanting to do, but you've been procrastinating? You've been delaying starting it. What's one small step that you could take and write that in an affirmation using this Kaizen principle? One small doable step, and then you'll be able to reward yourself. Starting with either I am, I make, I can. If you want to put another present tense verb in, that's fine. I just gave you these as a suggestion, but I'd love you to put it into Jeffrey. Thank you. I see you've started yours. I can complete my project. Okay. Jeffrey, look at the last word that I have up there. It says specific. What is your project? Too broad. When you create a Kaizen affirmation as a positive affirmation, it needs to be specifically of what it is you're going to do. And it should be, and which you have done, 5 words or less so you can remember it, but be specific. So write what your project is going to be. You can think about it, Jeffrey. You don't have to put it down now if you don't want to, but I can complete and then write the name of the project, because then it'll be in your mind and you will see yourself. And this is why visualizations are so important, because affirmations become actually visualizations. And we see it as having done it already. And so we think, okay, I've done it. I can do it now. Okay, now who wrote this one about cleaning out the basement? Sheila. Okay. Cleaning out my basement, going, oh my God. That's incredible, Sheila. Okay, wonderful. Now put that into a short Kaizen affirmation. 5 words, maybe 6, and very specific. You don't need to say start. You can just say, I can clean. Oh, good, Jeffrey. That's very specific. Okay, Jeffrey, I'm going to ask you to write that so that you have that in front of you, and write it several times so you can remember that. Now, is digitizing your documents, Jeffrey, a small step that you can complete quickly and easily? Do you want to maybe digitalize 5 documents and then reward yourself and then do another 5? You don't want to do too
I
much so that you might start procrastinating. Yeah, what is?
I digitized most of them and I thought I was finished, but then I
Ah,
found more and I put them in a little magazine rack to go through. And then I
ah,
will use the magazine rack for something else, you know? It
great.
doesn't have to be
Okay.
just for magazines. You can repurpose things that you
Yeah,
have in your home.
absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, great. Great, great. So you've got it. That's great. How about you, Sheila? Have you got something that's shorter and more specific? Do you want to unmute yourself and let us know when you're ready? And okay, there you are, Sheila. I see. I can clean out
Mm.
the basement. Okay. How does that feel, Sheila? Can you do
Well,
that?
I realized it was way too broad, so I just wanted
Uh-huh.
to, I can clean out 2 boxes in the basement.
Okay, that's even better. I can clean out, how about one box and then reward yourself and then go back for the second box?
Sounds good.
Okay, I can clean out one box in the basement. Yeah, great, great. Yeah, keep me posted how that goes.
I will.
Okay, now we have another Sheila who's going to make a collage. Oh, I love that, Sheila. Okay, from all the magazines. Okay, what's the first step you're going to do though, Sheila? Because this is very broad.
Probably sort the magazines so I can get rid of the ones that don't have like colorful pictures in them because I want to do a colorful one
Mm,
collage and have a theme. I
okay.
need to pick a theme.
Wow, that sounds great. That makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? Now you can get
Yeah,
rid of magazines and just
I
pick the
have like
ones you need.
200 magazines. I just never throw them out.
Where have you been hiding them,
I've been
Sheila?
procrastinating.
Yes, that's right. That's what this is about, to
Yeah,
stop
I
procrastinating.
know. I know.
Okay, so
So
I'd like all of you today, if you have some time, because this is very short, remember. It's very short and you can do this quickly, to work on this today when you have a few minutes so that you can work on this very short affirmation and complete it and then reward yourself and then pick another affirmation of what you'll do next. Okay, Sheila, I can't wait to see that collage.
neither can I.
Yeah, you'll show it to me. Fix shoes, Diane. Okay. How many shoes do you have, Diane, that have lost their souls? Oh my God, they've lost their soul. Okay, so Diane, you're going to pick maybe, I don't know how many you're talking about, but let's say that you're going to maybe fix 2 shoes or 3 shoes. You don't want to fix too many because you might get tired of doing it and you might stop and then procrastinate.
You're right. Maybe even just 1 or 2, but I think I need to watch a video. I forgot. You can learn everything on YouTube, you know?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Okay, so maybe first is I can watch a YouTube video on how to glue shoes. Yeah, that will be your affirmation for today. And then reward yourself, but not with ice cream. Okay. And then next one would be picking maybe 2 shoes that you can follow through on the instructions of what you learned. And that would be your next affirmation. Must be short, must be specific. Otherwise, and I know this from the clients I've worked with, and I know this from myself, otherwise, you'll start to procrastinate. You'll stop and leave it. The phone will ring. You'll need to make a phone call. You'll want to eat something. You'll want to go out for a walk. You won't get it done. This is what happens, and this is what happens with procrastination. So Kaizen is a very, very important concept to really keep in your everyday life, to keep you moving forward and to keep you more organized. Anyone else have anything that I've missed? Sherry, okay, go through all the paper clutter. Okay. Um, hmm, I can get through the paper. I can get through it. You're repeating your affirmation. All right. Sherry, why don't I don't know how much paper clutter you have, but maybe if it's one stack, you could say, I can get through one stack of paper clutter, because you don't want too much because you'll get tired and you'll stop. The important thing about and having an affirmation for Kaizen and really following this principle is by having closure, by completing it so that you feel you've done something. And that's what moves you forward. It's a small incremental step of success and reward, and then coming back and doing the next step. If you do too much, you might not get to the next step. And that's the importance of Kaizen. Is there anyone else I've missed? Um, okay, I can get through all the paper. John. Oh, John, really? One push-up. Okay, cool. You ought to get to that very quickly and then reward yourself. No ice cream. Reward yourself by going for a walk in nature or just looking outside your window and then going back and having another affirmation. Maybe I can do 2 push-ups. Okay, John, I'm glad you're getting yourself in shape. Wonderful. Jeffrey, you wrote it down. Wonderful. How short? What do you mean, how short, Diane? In terms of the affirmation, 5 words,
No,
how
how
long it'll
short should
take?
the activity? Yeah, like,
Okay,
do you want
it
to aim
shouldn't
for?
take that long. It should be something you can complete quickly so that you could see the progress. You can see and reward yourself for doing it. And then you can have another step. Remember, these are very small incremental steps to get to the goal. The object is to get to the goal eventually, not right away, because the goal is really too big and it'll cause you to procrastinate. So, for example, if John said, I want to do 10 push ups, probably at 1, he'll stop and he'll never get to the 10. But if your goal is to do 1 push up, you just do that and then reward yourself and then come back and see if you could do 2. Diane, watch your video. As long as the video takes, that is what you're going to do for your first incremental step. Your next will be maybe 2 or 3 soles that you want to repair and glue together. And as long as that takes, but it should be not too long. That's why you don't want to do all of your shoes.
But are we thinking like 15 minutes or a half an hour? I mean, I'm just curious so that we have an idea, because I get the concept. It does make sense.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's a good question. For some people, it could be 15 minutes. For some people, it could be half an hour. But as long as it's something that you can complete
Yeah.
quick, and the optimal word here also is quickly. Can you repeat it quickly? Okay, so if you can repeat it, and if you complete it in 15 minutes, that's even better. If it takes you 20, that's okay. This is not to stress you out. This is to relax you and to help you get to where you need to go to reach that goal that you haven't been able to reach because perhaps many of you, like myself, are procrastinating because the goal is just, it's too much to do. So make it small and doable. Okay, what's next? Oh, remember now. Okay, so I've just gone through these 5 concepts. Some of them are ancient, some of them more modern, and all of them are here to help you remember as you age that you rock. You rock. You've lived, you've learned, and you've achieved. And you also have wisdom, creativity, and resilience. And each one of these concepts will help you remember how resilient you are, how creative you are, and how much wisdom you have. So you choose how to show up, and you choose which one of these concepts will help you in your daily activities to calm your mind, calm your body, and to give you more resilience and to make you feel more happy and more joyful in your life. Next. So in the few minutes we have left, I'd like you to look at these questions, and I'd like you to just give me some answers and just think about which Japanese concept speaks the most to you that I discussed today. Was it one that was new? I think some of you, Kaizen was new. Some of you know the others from before. Maybe you've learned something a little different about them today. So which one speaks the most to you? And if it's something that you knew about before, did you learn something new about it if you knew it before? I'd love to know. And then 2 things you can do this week to feel more positive and productive. 1 step forward you can take for your well-being using one of these concepts. And very important connection. How can you connect this week with a person or a community that you haven't connected with in a while, that you would like to speak with, or just call and say, hi, how are you? Very important to include connection in this whole process, in your action steps. Sheila will talk. But what you can do, Sheila, is and Jeffrey will send that out in a little while, not just today, but in a few days or as long as it takes to get up there. He'll be sending out a YouTube of this recording. And I'll be sending you, or everyone who's signed up, I think will get it, Jeffrey. Is that right or not? Well, I have to send people.
Everyone who registered will
Yeah.
get the YouTube.
Okay, lovely. Thank you. So Sheila, you can tell your friend when you get the YouTube that she can sign into the YouTube and watch this program.
That's great. Thank you.
Oh, you're quite welcome. It's so nice to see you here. Linda, the
Mhm.
loved one. Yeah, okay, simplicity. Yeah, it's very simple. The one thing that you can do, yes. Because we get so overwhelmed with doing so much that we don't get to what we really can do very quickly and very shortly. And just think what happened in Japan. Look at Toyota, how they rebuilt using this philosophy of Kaizen. You can do the same. Okay, Sheila, you're going to connect with a couple of artist friends. Wonderful. Yeah, talk about the collage that you're going to be working on today. Actually, get rid of the magazines first before you work on the collage. Go through your magazines. That's your first affirmation. Sherry Kaizen.
Okay.
Okay, Sheila?
Yeah.
Yeah, great. Okay. So many unfinished projects. It is overwhelming, Sherry. It's so overwhelming. But Kaizen should really be able to help you. Just think in terms of small, incremental, doable, and then reward yourself. That's the best part. Do something nice for yourself when you finish and then go back again. And if it takes you 15 minutes or 20 minutes, it shouldn't take you that long because it's a small task that you'll be doing, breaking up a large project into very small, doable tasks. Okay, John, thank you for being here. Glad you enjoyed it. Yeah, I think that's a very good idea, Diane. Get rid of those magazines that are coming in. Okay, so I think that we have 2 minutes. If there's and join, be with old friends. This is I forgot I put this slide in. Connect with people, smile with people, bring joy to people, and just enjoy your life using these 5 wonderful ancient and modern Japanese philosophical concepts. Okay, if you'd like a copy of my 12 ways to stay happy and productive at 50 and beyond, let me know. Or if you want tips for maintaining a resilient job search after 50, or you want them both, let me know. So I wish you all a productive, joyful, and peaceful life, 50, 60, 70, 80, and beyond. And thank you all for being here.